So it is now time for another Q&A brought to you by Candid. If you would like to participate in this Q&A, you can visit the Humanist Report group on the Candid app for iOS and Android. And our group is now approaching 500 members, so I'm very excited. And I'll be starting a thread on Candid for the Sunday debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. So if you would like to participate in that, then feel free to join our group. Now to get to your questions, hey Mike, is your fiance into politics? If so, do you guys ever debate each other for fun? Love your show, keep up the good work. Basically, we have the same exact opinion on politics, so we're in vigorous agreement. So we really don't debate. Opinions on Milo Yiannopoulos. I probably butchered his name, so if I did, I'm sorry. I'm not honestly too familiar with his work, but I'll just say this. I disagree with him on virtually 100% of the issues, but I can't fault him for doing basically what I do. I mean, he goes out there, he talks about the issues that he cares about, and even though I think he's wrong on the issues, objectively speaking, and even though he has political positions that are antithetical to his own identity, because, I mean, he's a gay man, and he's supporting Donald Trump, who chose Mike Pence as his VP, a vehemently anti-gay governor who literally codified pro-discrimination legislation into law that would allow businesses to discriminate against gay people. I mean, I just can't see why you would support that. And another aspect about Milo is that he's kind of a self-loathing homosexual, because on the Joe Rogan podcast, he was asked whether or not he would be straight if he had the choice, and he said he would. And that makes me sad, because I mean, if you would change something about yourself, if it's something more than just minor improvements, if it's something that fundamental, then that makes me sad that you can't accept yourself. So I mean, in the end, my opinion on him is kind of benign because I don't follow his work enough, but I think that he just goes out of his way to be edgy, and he's more of an entertainer in my opinion. But I mean, if you like that kind of stuff, then have at it. Thoughts on Gary Johnson? Gary Johnson is someone who I can appreciate the civility that he brings to this election, but I think that he's great on foreign policy, even though he had that Aleppo gaffe, which to me is very problematic. But on domestic policy, he would be a disaster. He supports the TPP. He supports private prisons. I vehemently disagree with Gary Johnson on so many domestic policy issues that I would be terrified if he were elected. He doesn't want a federal minimum wage. Okay, libertarianism doesn't work. It doesn't work in reality. So it's more... I think Kyle Kulinski is the one who says this, so credit to him, where you kind of put your philosophy above practicality. So it sounds good on paper to you, but in actuality, even though you think you're opting for less government and you're afraid of big government, what you're choosing instead of big government is big business and corporate fascism. So I think that that's probably worse than big government. So that's just my opinion. I am much more enthusiastically supporting Jill Stein, obviously, if you watch the show. So, I mean, I like Gary Johnson. I like that he's quirky. I like that he smokes pot. But, I completely disagree with him on domestic policies. Hey, Mike, thanks to your show and other progressive media, I have been chosen out of 30 students in my AP Government and Politics course to go to a Senator Day. It's on a Friday and takes up the whole day of school. Thanks, Mike, for keeping me updated on politics and Jill Not Hill. That is awesome. You did this yourself, so thank you for crediting me, but that's all you. Just having the passion to stay engaged in politics is what really matters and is what made you successful. Would you ever debate someone like Steven Crowder? I would not debate someone like Steven Crowder because I think in order for a debate to be at least somewhat meaningful, you have to agree on some levels. Me and Steven Crowder disagree on everything. So although I find him entertaining and I think he puts a lot of work into his program, and I can really respect that and admire that because I do the same thing, we disagree on fundamental things. Do you think celebrity activists like Shailene Woodley, Rosario Dawson, or Susan Sarandon should endorse Jill Stein? Would it help her? Absolutely. I think that if they're supporting Jill Stein, they absolutely should endorse her. And look, for someone like Jill Stein, who's a third-party candidate, name recognition is a big factor that really hurts her. So I think that if these celebrities get behind her, it's a bonus. I can't argue against it. I love the idea. Love the show, Mike. Thank you for all of your hard work. You are one of my 3 favorite progressive political podcasters, along with Secular Talk and Let the Madness Begin. What do you do on your free time? Well, first of all, thanks. You are too kind. In terms of answering the question, what I do on my free time is I'm a pretty big gamer. I like to play video games. I don't often have time, with my schoolwork, with the writing I do now for Huffington Post, with the podcast. But I really try to play video games as much as possible. Right now, I'm currently playing BioShock, the collection, and I'm really enjoying it because it's one of my favorite series, and I'm losing my voice for some reason. But yeah, I'm a video gamer, and besides that, that's all you're really going to get out of me. I'm not an adventurous person. I don't like to camp. I don't like to hike. I like to stay home, watch movies, and play video games. A lot of people probably look down on that, but it's what makes me happy, and I think you got to do what makes you happy. Mike, do you think if Senator Warren was running for Democratic nominee during the primaries, would DNC have the election rigged against her? If so, do you think they would have gotten away with it as well? Yes, absolutely. If Warren was running instead of Bernie, they would have tried to rig it, and yes, they probably would have gotten away with it, but maybe not as much as they did with Bernie Sanders. Hey Mike, how do you argue against willful ignorance? When someone is unwilling to look at facts for their arguments, how do you best go about raising a positive discussion? I honestly don't have an answer for this, because if somebody isn't willing to look at facts, then they're not going to be very open to other people's perspectives and ideas, and they're not truly seeking the truth. Like for me, I try to base my entire political opinion exclusively on facts, and that's uncomfortable sometimes. It causes me to have cognitive dissonance, but so long as I am fact-driven, then I know I'm seeking the truth, and I know at the end of the day, I'm going to be on the right side of the issue. So I don't know how you can do that, honestly, and I know that's a disappointing response, but unfortunately, it's all I got. I never cared about politics until my wife told me we were going to have children. Twins, actually. Now it's a constant concern. How do you submerge yourself so deeply in the subject without losing it? Well, first of all, congratulations. That's huge. To have a kid is probably huge, but to have twins, man, look, congratulations. Thankfully, you're a progressive, and I know that those kids are going to be very smart and grow up thinking correctly about politics. And to answer your question, how to submerge myself without losing it, honestly, sometimes it's difficult. I get really down when, I'm covering the election, and I try not to let that affect my coverage or bias my opinion. But, you have to work through that, because as individuals, we all have biases. But, it's really, really difficult. So you have to think of ways to kind of defrag and separate yourself. So I play Minecraft. I take my dog for a walk, maybe. It's tough. It really is. But, my interest is keeping me going, and feeling like I can maybe accomplish something is keeping me going. So if you too would like to join our group on Candid, or ask me a question and have me answer it on camera, you can download the Candid app on iOS or Android. I will see you all at next week's Candid Q&A.